Welcome to Fitnosophy, build your body, realize yourself. I'm your host, Gaia Domenici. I have a PhD in philosophy, I'm a certified nutrition and health coach, and a personal trainer in the making. This is my podcast, where we'll be discussing how body, mind, and spirit are all connected and how their balance defines our health. If you're passionate about training, nutrition, and overall optimal performance, then you're in the right place. Hi Jermaine, how are you?
Hi, I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm alright.
Good.
That's so cool. So today we're gonna talk about a lot of exciting things.
hmm
I'm with a very cool guy here, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so we can break the ice and start with your personal story. So who are
Yeah,
you? Where you?
yeah. I mean, that's such a broad question, isn't it? Like, it's one of those questions that get so much harder to answer as the years go by.
Yeah, true.
Where in my teens, it was like, how are you? Like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm Jermaine Allen. I'm in college or whatever it was. End of story, done. But now, I'm 29 years old. I've got an IT company that I run, sort of that's my 9 to 5. And then in between, I do my YouTube chat show called Jay's Big Chat. And then any other little projects I get my hand on, like networking, running networking events and things like that. So I think I'm a person that likes to do things. So I'm always up for new challenges and new tasks and so forth. Um, what else about me? I've got a wife and 3 kids. I live in London. Um, I mean, I guess we'll figure out the rest of me as we kind of go on.
Yes, I'm. So the reason why I wanted you,
Yeah,
to come on the show is precisely for that, because you seem to be able to put many things together in a very balanced way. And what I was very interested in knowing was
yeah,
how you gotten this far, like how you've managed to put together your own business, your
yeah.
show, and your family too,
Mm,
and also because I mean you train as well, and this I know
I
from
do.
your Instagram. So I wanted also to
Yeah.
know, yeah, we will put that into the discussion as well. So
Okay. Yeah.
and so first of all, I just wanted to say that I really think you're doing something very, very cool with your show, because
Thank you.
no, seriously, your big chat
A
is
show
very
that a show that you've been on. How many times have you been on it now? Twice.
twice twice, but
Yeah.
that's not the reason why I'm saying this. Even my parents, they watched both
Okay.
episodes, and even though they obviously couldn't understand a single word of what we were saying, they
Yeah.
found it very interesting and entertaining, because
Amazing.
because of the way it was designed. Like they really
Yeah.
enjoyed
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Brilliant. That's
yeah, that's
perfect.
very cool. So, and how did you come up with the idea of putting together a show like that? And
Yeah.
how did you find the time to work on it, first of all?
Yeah. So it's one of those things that I wanted to do for quite some time. So in my early 20s, I wanted to do some form of, I guess, talk show or some sort of talking something. And that sort of stemmed from the fact that I always enjoy talking to people and listening to different opinions about different subjects and so forth. And no matter where I was, I always found myself in some sort of debate or some sort of conversation, typically with people older than me. So even my cousins and friends who are the same age as I am would be at family functions or different events, and I would be with like people 20 years older than me, like talking about different topics. So I wanted to start in my early 20s, but unfortunately, it's one of those things that you kind of say, oh, I want to do it, and you don't really do it. And it was about 2 years ago. I literally said to myself, 2 years? Actually, about a year and a half. I literally said to myself, all right, do you know what? Today's the day I'm going to do it. And just before that, I kind of gave myself a little telling off and said, listen, like you will regret the things that you don't do. And literally just like that, I made some phone calls and said to a few people, listen, if I was to do a YouTube chat show about and they were like, yeah, I was like, about topics. I'm not sure what topics yet, but would you come and have a chat with me? And instantly 4 people said yes. And the first topic was about growing up and different experiences about growing up. So I had people from different backgrounds and telling their stories. And I just find it so fascinating listening to people's opinions. Um, the good thing about it is I got my wife to join in on that venture. So I kind of got her to be the camera person. So I had an office space and had people come and we sat around, sat in the line and we kind of spoke and stuff. So it was a kind of wanting to do and finally deciding to do it. And the way I fit it around sort of family is getting my family involved. I had my sister involved. She was doing some camera work for me as well. So I had 3 cameras set up. My sister was on one. There was one standalone, and my wife was on one as well. So
Oh,
in that
that's
way,
amazing how you involved everyone in this project. So
well,
everyone.
I kind of had to. Otherwise, it'll be like, if I'm disappearing, I filmed it once a week for 11 weeks. So if I was disappearing every Friday, it'll be like, oh, you go to work, and then you go and you do the filming, and I'll be missed. So I thought, okay, if you're part of it, then it's it'll be better for all of us.
Yeah, but that's cool, that anyway, it's not always that easy to find, appropriate support, because
Yeah,
sometimes, yeah, people are not, they might not be 100% convinced, or they might
yeah,
make excuses like they don't have the
yeah.
time. So that's really cool that you found a lot of support. And so what motivates you to continue, because you've been consistent. And I have to say that what I appreciate the most is the variety of topics that you
Yeah,
bring in every time.
yeah.
So what inspires you and what motivates you to continue from week to
I
week?
think, yeah. So I think so when I started first in the in early 2019, um, I I didn't know how it was going to be perceived by people. I didn't know what the feedback was going to be. I didn't know who I was going to get to talk, and what the reactions was going to be. Um, but I did say, do you know what? It actually doesn't matter if I get 2 people to talk to, or if I get 20. If I have 3 people subscribing to my channel, or if I have 300, I said I want to do it. The best thing for me to do is literally just do it, and whatever happens, happens. And I kind of said to myself, you know what? I know for a fact, and this is something that I kind of learned along, I guess, my growing up journey, is that not everything is instant. Some things take a long time. Health and fitness, you're same with your with work and family and stuff. Sometimes it takes a long time. So I just went for it, and luckily, I think what kind of kept the propeller going is the fact that the first show that I did was on growing up. I had 4 of my good friends sort of come on and tell their story, and then that I felt such a buzz off that, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like this went well, but I never really take I guess I don't really know how good the shows are until I hear the feedback from those who actually was that were on the show.
Right.
So luckily they gave me some feedback and was like, oh my gosh, maybe we want to do another one. I was like, really? Okay, cool, right. So I'm going to do another one next week. So I got 2 of them to come back on that one, and then I got 3 other people. So I think there was about 6 of us on that next one. And it's the people that actually drives me forward to do next topic. So it's the interesting personalities and stories that people tell that intrigues me. With topics like um, politics and education and health, sometimes it can be boring, they can be quite flat. But when you have interesting people with like amazing stories to tell, it's just like, whoa, okay, cool. We're meant to be filming for half an hour, 45 minutes, but we're talking for an hour and a half. So, let's keep rolling. So it's definitely the people that allows me to continue that
Yeah,
sort
I mean, I agree, because having been on the other side of your show, I have to say it's addictive. Like, you know, because when you start the conversation, you know, usually, I mean, based on my experience, we were all getting along very well.
yeah,
I mean, whether we would agree or, you know, disagree on certain things, but
yeah,
the way the conversation flew was just perfect. There was kind of
yeah,
alchemy
yeah,
between us, and I think you've been like a perfect, you know, host um,
yeah.
in both cases, and I think you are like a very like a perfect host for that kind of show, because you're able
Well,
to, yeah.
do you know, I had to accept that. As much as, and I, you know, when it comes to compliments, I'm just like, oh my gosh, no, right, thank you very much, but like, let's leave it
But
there,
they,
kind
they
of thing.
keep telling you, don't they?
But and then I said to myself, like, Jermaine, you're gonna have to accept it in order for you to get to where you want to get to and do what you got. You're gonna have to accept the compliment in the way that, okay, this is something that people enjoy, and
Yeah.
keep doing it. So, you know, I I think what I enjoy, as I said, to you, is talking to people, and I enjoy listening, you know, to people. So definitely, it's the case of when people do come on the show, it's not just one or two people all getting their say. It's actually everyone, you know, voicing their opinions. And the one thing I ask of everyone is that everyone's respectful of each other's opinions. So if we agree on certain things, fine. If we don't agree, then we don't agree. But you know, it's respect. I think when you're having a chat show of one to another, you kind of say, okay, I don't agree. And actually, what we've actually had, even on the chats that you were on, some people actually said, actually, I didn't see it that way, but now that you've said that, fair enough, you know. And then they kind of take that on board. And I've had so many comments back from people saying, oh my gosh, like until that person said that, I didn't think of it that way. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's very cool. I had exactly the same, you know, impression. So yeah, I think
yeah,
you're doing something great with that. And
thank you.
before, no, you're welcome. You deserve it. Before moving on to the
Yeah,
next topic, I just wanted to ask you if you've got any advice you'd like to give, you know, someone
yeah.
wanting to start with same kind of show,
Hmm.
like you know, because sometimes people might burn out because they're too driven, they're so driven that, you know, they can't even see possible risks, and then they give up. Other people are way too cautious and they don't want to take the risk. So how,
Mm.
I mean, yeah, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I think if if you're doing something you love, so if you're starting a YouTube chat show or some sort of chat show or some sort of yeah, I guess YouTube anything, whether it be a podcast or, you know, it's definitely about consistency, but you've got to love what you do, um, and there will be there will be definite times where, because I film for instance on a Friday, there's definite times where you've got to make the sacrifice of, no, I can't go out on that Friday, no, I can't go there, I can't do this because I'm filming this, you know. So it's having the idea and running with it, like literally just say, I'm doing it, it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter if it goes viral. It doesn't matter if only my mum and dad sees it or my cousins or my work colleagues. It's just getting it on there, and it's all about the content. Because once you put something on there, it gives you the drive as well to be like, oh my gosh, okay, cool. It's not just in my head anymore. It's there. Kind of like kind of like when you're working out and you know, you're kind of just you're working out, but you're not really documenting your any progression. So you don't know whether or not you're getting stronger, you don't know whether or not you're getting faster or what the case. Maybe you should just go in. So this way you film something, you record something, it's there to hold you accountable, you know, to let you know actually you can do it. So it's definitely the persistence, but just do it, literally. Just don't even think of just once the idea's there, just go for it.
I love that you brought up the idea of the metaphor with the fitness progress and the
Yeah.
bodybuilding progress, because that leads me to the next question directly.
Yeah.
So how,
Tell me.
so which is actually two questions. So one, I wanted to know something about your own personal fitness journey. So when did you start training? What
Yeah.
motivated you, and so forth. And then again, how would you put fitness and training in relation to the rest of your life? Like how would you see,
Yeah.
how would you describe your relationship with fitness and training in an overall life perspective?
Yeah. Uh, so I guess my fitness days, uh, it's again, this is a story that I probably haven't shared, and it's a weird one because I remember being in secondary school, so being the age of like 14, 15, and in our school we had a gym and so forth, right? But no one really went to the, well, I wouldn't say no one, not a lot of people went to the gym because most times it was, football. So the football pitch was there and everyone's playing football or basketball or something of that sort. Um, so my, I remember being in year 11, so I was probably about 15 years old, and I was, I mean, what is skinny? But apparently I was called skinny. I was skinny. I used to wear glasses, so I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, there's Jermaine, the skinny glasses, 4-eye person. Like I was put in a category. So I was kind of like in the balance of floating with the cool kids and the not cool kids, and just like sitting in the middle. And I thought to myself, why is it, like, honestly, I thought to myself, why is it that when you look a certain way, you automatically get put in a certain category and to be made to feel a different type of way. And I just remember that evening going home and literally just doing press ups. And for, I would say, maybe 2-3 weeks, I was just doing press ups and sit ups, press ups and sit ups, just for the sake of it, just like literally just press ups,
I
sit ups,
used to
like,
do the same,
yeah.
yeah.
And
So,
think, because I didn't have weights at home, didn't have something to go to
yeah.
a gym. I was 15 years old, so I thought, no, I'm doing it. And shortly after, I remember a PE lesson, and it was like we were getting change and stuff, and people like, Jermaine's got abs. Like, what? Jermaine's got abs. Oh my gosh, Jermaine's got abs. Da, 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 da. And then like instantly, like it then changed to, oh, look at skinny. And it's like, why? People perceive,
The
the fact
stigma,
that,
yeah.
yeah, exactly, that you've got to look a certain way in order for you to, to
To
either work
belong to
out
the,
or whatnot.
yeah,
So I can't just want to break the thing of, actually I can be like academically smart. I can wear glasses. I could still lift weights and train. Like, it doesn't actually matter. Do you know what I mean? You can be a girl and still bodybuild. Like, what's your problem? Like, anyone can do whatever they want to do. So the journey kind of stemmed from there into my college years. The first year of college, I didn't go to gym at all. And then the second year of college, I had two friends who went to the gym, and they were like, "Oh, Jermaine, you come to the gym?" And we started that gym for about 6 months, and then that was it. 6 months. After 6 months, I didn't go to the gym for probably about 4 years. Um, uh, and then it started again in my early 20s. And then I thought, actually, let me in my lunch break at work, let me just pop to the gym, something to do. And the reason why I continued was because the feeling of gym, the after gym, the before. It actually makes me feel. I know people say a lot, and everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, it actually makes you feel alive. It makes you feel happy. Although you're sore and you're achy and stuff, it's that good sore, it's that good ache.
yes, I agree.
Um, so so yeah, the journey kind of then went down that direction. The bit about juggling it between sort of personal life and fitness life. So I'm 29 years old now. I'd say I've probably been solidly working out at the gym for maybe 4 years, 4-ish years. Um, I got married at 22. I've now got 3 kids. So as you can imagine, you've got like a full family life. The gym is basically another life.
Yeah.
It's dedication in terms of hours. Plus, I've got my work life as well, and all my other like hobbies and stuff that I do. How do I juggle it? I think it takes a lot of understanding, one, from your partner and your kids and stuff. It's like, okay, right, I finish work, I get home at say 5:30. I'll run to the gym, spend about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. And again, it's about discipline, because I could go to the gym for 2 hours, but I just know that's eating into family time. So it's the discipline of, okay, an hour and a half, like about hour, hour and 15 minutes, 15 minutes to get back home, and then spend the rest of the time with the family. Some days I won't even go to the gym. I'll just be like, do you know what? I'm going to miss today and spend it with the family. So it's about assessing the situation. Sometimes if I can see that the wife is a little bit like missing me a little bit, I might say, okay, fine. All right, I'll leave chest day today, and we'll stay home and we'll cook something and watch a film, you know, and that's what we'll do. So.
And yeah, so do you ever get the rest of your family involved in your workouts? Like, say, I don't know, let's do some outdoor training all together. Yeah, and because your kids, yeah.
The one thing I realize about exercise and about fitness, right, is you have to want to do it. And you can definitely involve, you can definitely say, come on guys, let's do this, and try and motivate. But realistically, if you don't want to do something, you do it and then you just fall off, you know, because you have no interest in it.
Yes.
They don't really have an interest in it as such. So sometimes there's spells, of course, there's spells where I'm like, okay, fine, let's go run in the park. Or there's spells where I'm like, I'm working out outside, guys, let's work out. Or sometimes I'm just like, right, drop everyone, let's do 50 squats or whatever it is, right, and we'll do it. But they don't really have too much of an interest in fitness, to be honest.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough, because we don't, you know, all have to share the same interest. And it's actually amazing, you know, how you manage to juggle with all of this. Like, and I wanted to share some I mean, this is nothing. So, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, because it's showing this session time on message. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to share this study that I ran into earlier on today on romantic relationships and health. I had to say I haven't been able to find that much, you know, like in terms of solid scholarly research. I only found 2 or 3 articles on social relationships and romantic relationships, but this one just really caught my attention because so drawing from epidemiological, laboratory and natural environment studies, this chapter, it's a chapter of a broader study, begins with discussion of the impact romantic relationship status and quality have on self-reported health, morbidity, and mortality. Okay, now the self-reported part doesn't really appeal to me because there's a lot of bias behind it. But what's interesting, it's the shift from negative to positive romantic relationship features and contexts is noted and identified as one of the several important shifts in focus over the past decade. And the thing is that there is a correlation between you know, healthy relationships, balanced relationships, and overall better health. And even though it needs to be, you know, further explored and studied a little bit more, I mean, a little bit better, but there is a trend. And it seems to me, I was having, you know, in the podcast I did with Taylor Thompson on longevity, we briefly touched upon the role of relationships in life, and we said that as humans, as a species, the way we evolved was in tribes. So we would live, you know, together with other beings, other human beings. We would share values, and it hasn't been until recently that we started, you know, to part and to split from each other. Because I think up to, I don't know, until a couple of, maybe 1 century ago, people would live, so families would be bigger, because
Yeah,
they would
definitely, yeah.
include like parents, grandparents, and they would have more children too. And also there was this sense of belonging in the neighborhoods as well, because there weren't many distractions. Like they didn't have an, I don't know, TV or
Yeah.
internet radio,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not even, you know, lights. Like, you know, like the sun went down at say 6 p.m. and it would just get dark.
Yeah.
So, and but they were still human, so they still needed to spend time somehow. So I guess they would just gather together, you know, they would just tell
Mm.
stories, maybe they would
Yeah.
play music, sing songs, and
Hmm.
things like that. So I think it's really important to go back to that kind of relationship centered society. And so I'm curious to know something, I mean, just something more about your own life. Like, what's a day in your life like? So like, what, you know, what time you get up, what you eat,
Yeah.
when you work, train, and how you spend time with your kids and
Yeah.
wife. Yeah.
So I guess a typical day in the life of Jermaine. Um, so I tend to get up around the 7 o'clock mark. Um, I then get ready. I actually don't have breakfast at home, so I literally have a shower, chuck some clothes on, jump on the train. I'll be in the office for about 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:30. Um, and this is my IT work. So I do IT support for a company. So I will then be in the office. I'll have breakfast, um, and I'll be around people all day, you know, solving issues. During the course of that day, I would have my phone ring probably about 3 or 4 times from the wife, just like general chit chat. General, sometimes just like leave me alone, I'm working.
That's very
Um,
cute.
yeah, just general chit chat, because so she's at home with the kids. So we've got a 1.5-year-old, and also a 6-year-old and a 11-year-old who are at school. So she does all the school runs and all the rest of it. So she's preoccupied with stuff. So sometimes when she's either walking to school, or she might be like doing some housework or shopping or whatever it is, then she got headphones, and then she's like, "Oh, perfect time to call Jermaine." So sometimes, luckily, you know, I'm in the office, sort of sat in front of the computer on my own, so I can talk on the phone. So we do have that relationship whilst I'm at work. We do spend time talking. Then I'll get home typically for about, I guess, maybe 4:30. At that point, I would I would literally come home, get changed, head to the gym, either on my own or with my gym man, depending on how his work schedule is. Um, yeah, then I'll work out. I'll do an hour and 15 minutes ish workout. I, recently, probably last maybe year, I've joined a gym where it's got like a jacuzzi and a sauna and things like that. So once,
Nice.
once a week. So if this is the day where it's
Yeah.
my jacuzzi day, it might be like an extra half an hour longer or whatever.
A well
And then
deserved half an hour. Yeah,
yeah,
long. Yeah.
so then I'll get home. And the thing about me is I prefer to cook, so I'm the main cook in the family.
Yeah, I see your stories. I mean, I
Yeah,
watch your stories every day. That, yeah, and
I mean they must like it,
we
otherwise they wouldn't want me to cook
we
so
lost
often.
you.
So I guess it's all right. I guess it's all right. So okay, so I do. I guess
Uh, sorry. Uh,
yeah,
You're back now. No, sorry, I lost you for. So you were saying that you like to cook.
yes,
So you, yeah.
yeah. So it's about 70% the cooking. So you know, I'll come home and I'd either, because I would already said, listen, when I get back from the gym, I'll cook, or I might cook before I head to the gym, and then just get them to watch it and turn it off or something. Or
That's
my
amazing.
wife, yeah, or my wife would cook, depending on what we want. We all cook different dishes, so if they want a particular dish and I cook it, then I've got to come home, cook it, and then leave. So yeah, then I'll come home. We'll have
It
we'll
seems
have
like you guys have like a teamwork. Uh,
Yeah, we work well together. We have to. There's times where we didn't work well together, and we had to learn how to. That's what I mean. Sometimes things take some time before. It's not just like, oh well, this isn't working, so let's give up on it. It's like, actually, let's just see it through and see, you know, how well we can kind of complement each other and so forth. So yeah, we do work well
Yeah, it seems pretty
as a team.
cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, have we'll have some food and watch a film. Tend to at least once or twice a week pick a film that the kids can watch, and we all just sit down and watch it together. And then afterwards, like, we just send them about their business, and the kids will just be playing and doing whatever they're doing.
Mm.
Um, and then I would be either doing a little bit of work, or I'll be on the PlayStation with my cousins or my friends, just some day unwind time, you know,
Yeah, of course.
for a little while. And then just chill. Like, the rest of the evening is just a chill kind of atmosphere. And that's pretty much a typical day. In terms of food and sleep, I kind of eat what I want when I want, because unless, yeah, of course, there's times when I'm training, I'm like, okay, cool. If I'm doing this particular type of train, I need this amount of protein or carbs, or this amount of vitamins or whatever it is. So I might do food, like cook food or have food and stuff that's high in whatever it is
Yes.
that I need. But typically, if I fancy, I don't know, like a pizza, or if I want biscuits or a crisp or whatever, or a bake and a cake, and my daughter's like, "Oh, can we bake a cake? All right, fine, let's go bake a cake." So I, it's definitely been a have what I want when I want it, but everything's in moderation. You know what I mean? So it's the same with sleep as well. So I'm a little bit weird. I don't really have much sleep, so I'll probably go. I'll probably head to bed at about like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and
Wow.
I'll drift off to like sometimes 2, and then be back up to 7. So I typically get about 5 hours or something like that.
And you're
But
fine with that, like, yeah.
yeah, like, perfect. If I even go to bed earlier, I would wake up after about that time anyway. So like, my
Yes.
body just takes that much, even on days off, just takes that much, and then says, okay, enough time to wake up, kind of thing. So
Yeah, but that's interesting because I mean, I think this can apply to, all aspects in your life, because you
yeah,
seem to be a very like a very balanced person. Like,
mm,
it seems like you know yourself pretty well. So it seems like you know when to have the extra thing, when not to have it. You seem to be able to
yeah.
enjoy yourself and still, like, control yourself at the same time. And how long did it take you to become that balance? Because when like, wherever you just have a look around you, what you see are people who adopt completely radical, behaviors, and
Yeah,
no, but it's true, like, they want
it
to
is. Yeah,
diet, and so they cut, back on, say they cut back on carbs, and then obviously they crave carbs. So after, I don't know, 2 months, they go back
yeah,
binge eating, and then they decide to, oh no, that was the diet, it didn't work, so they changed, and they cut back on fats, and
yeah,
then, and that's a
yeah.
pattern. And also in other aspects of life, like, but you seem to be very controlled and balanced in everything. So what's your secret, and how long did it take
So,
you? Yeah.
so I guess the reason why I can answer this question now, right, whereas before I probably wouldn't have been able to answer it properly, is because, again, it's that whole thing of like taking and accepting compliments, right? And it's also, in doing that, I learned who I am. I learned what my strengths and my weaknesses are, and I learned to accept it and work with it. So a lot of times took my I took the way that I think as oh, you can't, like, say certain things because it comes across like too arrogant or too cocky or too confident. And I was a very shy person, like, for a very long time I was a very shy person. All of my teens, it probably started breaking away in my sort of early 20s, where I really stopped caring about what people thought.
Yeah, I
And
can relate to that. Like I was exactly the same, and it was exactly the same story for me. So yeah.
it's torture. It's torture caring so much about
Yeah.
pleasing and thinking about what people think, and then you don't really know your character because you're like, well, I really want to say this, I really want to do this, but I can't because I don't know what people are going to say. And it's like you end up just conforming and being someone different. So to answer your question, I think I um, I know my strengths, and one of my strengths is I guess I know my limits, and I have a very addictive personality. So if I get into something, I know that I'm gonna be like, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be like hell bent on seeing it through. But also I like being happy. So I know, okay, cool, fine. What do I want? I want my body to look like this, or I want my stamina to be this. How do I do that? I need to do X, Y, and Z, right? But in between, if, for instance, I need to be only like, I don't know, let's just say meat and veg, for instance, right? And no carbs and no sugar and all this kind of thing. But I really crave having something sweet, but I'm going to tell myself I can't have it. That's just going to make me upset, and that's going to make me not happy. So I'm like, wait, well, I like when I'm happy. I like me being happy, right? So I'm gonna have that muffin, or I'm gonna, I'm gonna have that I don't know, packet of crisp or whatever it is, because it makes me happy, and I know it's not gonna kill me. And it just means, okay, cool. I'll train. I'll make sure. Again, of course, you can't burn it off, but I'll make sure. Okay, cool. I'll double the work or whatever it is. But I like being happy. So whatever at the time makes me happy, I want to do it.
Yeah, and that's precisely, behavior change strategy that is used quite often in
Yeah,
coaching, because basically what we want as coaches is, for our clients to find happiness and balance and independence, because we don't
yeah,
want to coach them forever. That's why they hired us in the first place.
yeah.
And
Of course.
using these, rewarding kind of systems is
Yeah,
a very helpful hack in many cases, because sometimes people don't they feel frustrated and
mm.
they have they feel guilty if they eat a muffin, or if they eat like a
Yeah,
pizza. And
yeah,
because okay, sometimes they don't know how calories in and calories out really work, so they think that okay,
yeah,
what you put in your mouth will just become fat, and that's not the case. So
yeah,
sometimes you just need to educate them, but also you need to free them, you need to set them free from this sense of guilt,
yeah, yeah.
which is probably caused by our own Western culture. We've
Of
always
course,
had
yeah,
this
of course,
heavy sense of guilt,
yeah,
upon us. We've had it for centuries, but it's still there, and people,
yeah,
feel it. And you need to tell them there's nothing wrong with eating one muffin, because
yeah, yeah.
if that makes you feel really bad, what you can do is just increase your cardio maybe,
Of
or
course,
your
yeah,
volume in your training, or just okay, you ate that muffin today, so tomorrow just skip, I don't
yeah,
know, one portion of just cut back on your on some calories,
yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
be, yeah, it could be rice, could be, there are a lot of adjustments that you can make.
Of course,
And that's but so that that's something that sometimes takes a very long time to get to, because uh
you know what?
people, yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you could, what kind of advice and strategies could you propose, and yeah, to help people become like you.
Do, do you know what? Not There's a lot of advice out there, right? And there's a lot of people that will tell you things, 100%, because they've been trained to tell you things. And of course, by all means, you've got to listen to nutritionists, you've got to listen to your PTs and so forth, because they are qualified in knowing the human body and all the rest of it. But like, nobody can know your body like yourself,
Yes.
you know? Your PT, your nutrition can say, oh, eat this much or train this much. But really and truly, if you're training a particular amount of days or you're eating a particular thing and it's not agreeing with you and you're not feeling right, like, it's about knowing yourself. It's taking that time to know yourself, know what what works for you. So luckily, I know that I burn fat really quickly. So I could not train for a month and eat whatever I want whenever I wanted, and it wouldn't affect me as much as, let's say, my gym partner. After a week, if he's eating what I'm eating and not training, he's like, "All right, Jay, listen, now I need to get back to the gym," and so forth, right? Because it's different. And so his diet and here's the way that he works and the way that he's taken that time to know himself is different to me. So definitely, I think the advice is just know yourself, know what works for you. And if you don't know what works for you, it's trial and error, isn't it? It's if you're doing a certain thing and you can kind of see everything has an effect. So if you're eating a certain thing and you notice, well, okay, that's not agreeing with me because it's putting fat in places that I don't want it to be, or it's affecting whatever my breathing or whatever, then you kind of, okay, fine, let me stop that, let me do this instead and see how that works. So knowing yourself is definitely the most
And I
important
really,
part.
I really love that you mentioned this, because I had exactly the same conversation with Taylor Thompson.
Yeah,
We were talking about this, like,
yeah,
yes, if your clients ask you for, meal plans, obviously you guide them and you help them, but the best thing for them is to become their own scientist, or you can become their own scientist, but you need to
yeah,
allow them to track, their food, and
yeah,
start learning what sort of foods triggers what symptoms, because sometimes
yeah, yeah,
I mean, we're all, obviously we're all unique, we're all different from each other. So what triggers certain symptoms in myself might not trigger the same symptoms in someone else, but
true.
what's important for me is to become aware of those symptoms. And unfortunately, there are so many people who don't seem to be aware of
Yeah,
because even I believe in Western medicine, some sort of basic illness has been normalized. So, for instance, if you eat something that makes you bloated, right, you shouldn't probably be eating that, because
no,
it's not. I mean, unless it is like a treat, something that you
yeah, yeah,
intentionally decide to eat. But if there's a causation between eating that food and getting bloated, that's probably not the right food for you. But
exactly.
if you go to your GP, I mean, some of them are really good, I have to say, and are qualified, especially in these most recent years. But unfortunately, there are still a lot of doctors around who will just prescribe you a tablet, or just some
Yeah,
medication or
yeah,
anything
yeah,
to cure the symptom, instead of investigating the
yeah,
root cause of that symptom.
yeah,
And so what's really important with clients is to have them write a journal of like a food diary. So what I eat, how I feel,
yeah,
like mentally, physically, if did I get sluggish, did I get
yeah,
energized,
yeah,
did I
yeah,
like, I mean, not too complicated. Well, some people might appreciate some complexity, some other people
yeah,
are more of like plain
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
like the as simple as possible. And that's where you as a coach adapt the program to the client and adapt the
mm,
survey, the questionnaire. But that's important to to help people discover themselves, and um,
yeah, yeah,
maybe starting from food, indeed, because that's the most, I would say it's the most immediate sort of reaction that you can get. That's probably the
agreed.
most,
Yeah,
yeah, because you eat something and that makes you feel a certain way, so there's a correlation
yeah,
between the two. Then you can try, like, you can try not to eat it, or eat it on a separate occasion. You can take notes, and
yeah,
you can play around with that and see
yeah,
if that's really the case. But
mhm,
that's the maybe the most immediate way to know yourself, and then through that you can maybe progress and apply the same rule to exercise, for instance.
Yeah.
And you can say, how do I really feel, my mind muscle connection in this, you can start from upper body versus lower body first, and then you can narrow it down
Yeah.
to, exercises per se. So you can say, I don't know, how does this preacher curl make my, I don't know, how does it feel in my biceps as
Yeah.
opposed to this, other variation, how this,
Yeah.
and so forth. And then you can apply it to anything. But I think maybe it's a problem of, modern society. People don't seem to really know themselves very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's definitely that. And going back to what I said about caring what people think, it's definitely that. It's everyone has an idea of how they want to look, how they want to feel, right? And unfortunately, um, because they're watching what other people are doing, and they feel, oh well, I can never do that, or I can never look like that, or I can never be like that. You kind of either just don't do it. You either just don't work out, you don't eat right because you think, oh, that's too much, or that's you know unrealistic, or whatever. But really and truly, like, we all have the potential to, like, shape our body and our mind in whatever way we want.
Love.
Yes, like, yes, it may be harder for some to mentally get in a place where they want to be, but with the right tools and so forth, it is possible. And it's the same for body types as well. And it's not watching people and saying, okay, I want to be like Jermaine, or I want to be like this person. It's going, you know what, I like the way Jermaine looks, but like, and I want to have, I don't know, something like that. Like, but how can I make this? How can I do it so it works for my body type? Because again, my gym partner, I'm 6'2". My gym partner, well, he likes to believe he's 5'8", but he's probably about I think he's about 5'7". I'll give him 5'7.5", just in case he's watching. At one point, I'll give him 5'7.5".
Still taller than me. I'm 5.4. So
Yeah. And his body type is totally different to me. So I'll look at his shoulders, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, I need to have shoulders like that, or, oh, I'll never get shoulders like that because I'm doing the same. And it's like, no, it's looking at yourself and saying, this is me. Okay, cool. If I do all the shoulder presses, if I do all the variation of shoulder exercises, right, and that still isn't working, sometimes genetics, just like, listen, that's just the way that you're built, and it's not a failure of, oh, I can never get big legs, or, oh, I can never get this. It's just going, listen, this is my body, and learning to, as a lot of people have been saying recently, it's like just learning to love the skin that you're in. But yeah, I think definitely it's a case of being able to love you for you, in terms of like the body type that you have, the mindset that you have. But everyone has got the capability of kind of, you know what I mean, like, going in that particular, in whatever direction they want to.
yeah, no, I love this. I love this because I had a similar conversation in the last episode I recorded with Tanto Isiano. We were talking about, self-realization.
That is an
And
amazing name. What's the name?
so, okay, the name is not the name he was born with, but he's called Tanto. And then
Yeah.
his surname, that's the original one, and that's Hisiano.
Oh, I love that's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, and
Yeah.
that's a very interesting character, by the way. So I mean, if so the podcast hasn't been released yet. It's gonna be out maybe in a couple of weeks, but you might want to watch it,
Okay.
because it was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And it was
100%.
on self-discovery, and and we mentioned a lot of awareness techniques. He actually guided me into awareness meditation during the
Wow.
podcast, so that was a very powerful experience.
Nice. Amazing.
But that's a good one, to that's another very good starting point to to get to know yourself,
Yeah.
because so you can write a journal, you can write like, you can also have like a workout journal,
Yeah.
and also like practice, you can also practice some awareness to really be in the present. And I also
Mm.
love that you mentioned the different body types, because just because you're born, with an, I don't know, an ectomorphic shape, as opposed to someone who is lucky enough to be mesomorphic, that doesn't mean that you can achieve great results. You still there?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, because it's coming and going. I think it's back now.
I think I'm
Yes.
here. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry about that. And so, I mean, you can still achieve very, great results regardless of the body type. And I'm thinking about famous bodybuilders with different body type, with like opposite body types.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I
Yeah.
compare, I don't know, Frank Zane with Tom Platz, or even like the
Yeah.
bodybuilders, like I don't know, if you think about any bodybuilder from that time compared to someone from today, like it just
Yeah.
like,
Totally
which one
different.
is better, like there's no a
Yeah.
better one.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and so that's not like genetics. I mean, yeah, obviously so genetics you were born with obviously plays a role in the whole,
Yeah.
but that's not a limiting factor, because you can
Of course
still
not.
become, yeah, when you once you build, once you exhaust your genetic potential, and you build all the muscle you can, and then you can, I don't know, even lean down to become super shredded.
Yeah.
I think there's not really, it's hard to tell the difference between someone with like super strong shoulders and someone with super
Yeah.
strong legs. You can tell the difference, but
Yeah.
that's not the first time that really, catches your
No.
attention, because
No.
what impresses you is like the hard work that both
Of
individuals
course.
put into their
Yeah.
physique to
So
become, you know.
yeah. So even about the hard work and like fitness and so forth, right? I definitely think that um as human beings, like we definitely need to keep fit in one way or another. Like, or there isn't a oh, I don't do fitness. There has to be something that we do as individuals that qualifies as fitness. Whether it's doing a school run, whether it's walking to the do you know what I mean? That it has to be something that you're doing, because it's not just to carve or shape a particular body type or to create strength or endurance, but it's to do with the mind as well. Because although you can train your mind in terms of I guess practicing mindfulness, reading books, filling your mind with positivity and so forth, right? For me, I think the biggest thing for my mind, at least, is exercise. And again, you can go into all the science behind it, the chemicals that release and all the rest of it when you do exercise. But I definitely feel it. That is where I'm at my optimum, I guess, clarity. So after I work out, and sometimes it could be playing badminton. So I used to, before lockdown 2020 happened, I used to
Yes,
play badminton with some good friends of mine.
that's very cool.
Um, so badminton, the gym, swimming, running the park. It doesn't really matter what it is. I always feel good afterwards. And I'll get in the car, I'll drive home. And I don't know if you've seen my Jay's drive time special that I
Yeah,
do. Like,
sometimes.
I don't know why I do it.
Right.
Like, I would never think about putting on a song that I like and then just like singing along to it inside the car. But once I finish the gym, I'm just like, I'm happy. I'm not right. But what song comes to mind straight away? And then I always pick a song depending on my mood. And then it's like, oh, okay, fine, let's stick this on and let's have a good old time. And then it's there, and it's there for my memory as well. And it's that's what I mean. Like some form of working out would definitely help your mindset and clarity. Business wise, after I got to the gym, and I'm like, okay, cool, right? Where am I now? Like, what's my next step? and that's always where I'm at my clearest. So
I love it. Yeah, and I would also bring in spirit into the equation, because it gives
yeah.
you a sense of wholeness, completeness, and
Oh, 100%.
makes you feel more connected to. So yes, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. And I've had
Yeah.
two similar conversations in the in the past two episodes. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
we're all moving in the same line, which
Good,
I
good, good.
love. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's the theme, the subject of the podcast. But I am very I'm amazed at how many people I can connect
yeah,
with a similar mindset, and that's amazing, and that's something that goes beyond any selfishness, or like
yeah.
it's something greater, and I love it. I really
It
love
is.
it. Yeah. So I mean, okay, we're gonna start wrapping this up, because it's been nearly 1 hour.
Okay, yeah.
And so before asking, so I wanted to ask you if there was anything else you wanted to add, something that we didn't touch upon and you think it's important to mention.
Not really. I think kind of whatever I wanted to say kind of slipped in at one point or another. So, what was your closing, like? Have you got a closing question, or is it just like what?
I do. I've got three closing questions. So
Okay, cool. Then let's run with that. At the moment, I think whatever I had to say literally got covered in the previous question. So yeah.
that's very cool. So last questions I always ask is last book you read, last meal you ate, and last body part you trained.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right. Are you? Oh, have you asked the question? Am I answering them now?
Yes, you. If you want, I mean, you don't have to, obviously.
Yeah. So the last book I read is a book called Cupcake, and it's not my typical book that I would have read. Um, it's if you have to go and sort of look at, I guess, a brief review of Cupcake. It's about
We're gonna put all the links in the show notes anyway
yeah,
on the website, so people can find every reference and everything.
yeah. So Cupcake again isn't my typical book, and it's quite a long autobiography, but it's about an individual who has had a hard life. She kind of grew up um, not having a real supportive family, being in foster care. Then she got ill-treated in foster care. Then she had to hit the streets and survive. And then the streets didn't treat her well. Then she had to join gangs and, get involved in violence and boyfriends again who mistreated her and all sorts of different dilemmas. And you know, in the end, she actually made it. This is years and years later. She kind of skipped death so many times and skipped prison and all sorts of different things. And in the end, she completely messed up. Have been raped, abused, drugs, like just completely, as someone would say, like a cast aside, a waste of space. And she happened to meet someone in her sort of recovery group when in her adult life, and this individual basically took her under her wings and kind of like helped her to realize actually you are worth something regardless of all the bad things that you've been through. So the moral of the story that I took from it, because of course when you read a book, your interpretation of it can be completely different to mine. So my interpretation was, regardless of the hardship that life brings to you, it doesn't have to be ill treatment by family, it doesn't have to be rape, it doesn't have to be gang violence and so forth. Whatever that is for you, it doesn't limit you to being that person that you are when you're down, and that regardless, there are people out there, support system out there to help you, whether it be your friend, your family, a colleague, a random stranger, that says, hey, you are worth something. So yeah, I took that from that book, Cupcake, and I made that my journey into workbook. So I get on the train for half an hour every morning. I'll read a couple of pages, and then on the way home, I'll read a couple of pages as well. So that lasted me quite.
Love this. Yeah, I love this.
Oh, yeah, that was the last book I read. And the last food I ate.
Yeah.
Was that the last meal?
That was the second
Uh,
question.
oh yes, last meal I ate was spaghetti bolognese. um, like literally, spaghetti bolognese was the last meal I made. That I ate, which was absolutely amazing.
Did you cook
And
them? Yeah. Was
no, I
it?
didn't cook that
Oh,
one.
you didn't cook them.
I didn't cook. I used every time it was spaghetti bolognese on the menu, I would cook it because I
Oh,
make a mean spaghetti bolognese, right? And then my wife decided one day I was at the gym and she was like, "We're all getting hungry. When are you coming back?" And I was like, "No, honestly, I'm wrapping up now." You know those sessions where it's like it's just so good and you're like, "Okay,
yeah.
right, it's been an hour and 15 minutes, right? You know, it's too good. Let me just do one more set." And she was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna." She was like, "Fine, whatever." So then, as I came home, I was like, "Wait a minute, I smell something." I was like, "Oh my gosh, she cooked the spaghetti bolognese that day." And ever since then, so like I ate it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And
She's
then you
in
know when you
charge now.
told
Yeah.
that was it. That was it. That's all
I
she
know.
needed. Like that amazing. And
I
yeah,
know. I know, because
she,
sometimes, I mean, my husband doesn't cook, that, I mean, he can cook, but I like, I enjoy cooking. So always I'm the one. But sometimes he really surprises me, because you just add something like unexpected, ingredients, like nothing major. And
yeah,
it changes
yeah,
the flavor
and it's good.
completely. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
So no,
good.
I enjoyed that.
And last body part you trained.
Last body part I trained just before literally coming on this chat at my in my friend's back garden. So we built a lockdown 2020 gym.
That's so cool. Yeah.
With some weights and a couple bits. It's actually a pretty decent setup. And we trained shoulders and biceps today.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's and again, even with the whole training thing, that some people have like certain days to do certain things. Sometimes we have that, but sometimes we like there's certain weeks where we just like however we're feeling. So if today we feel like training legs, then we're going to do legs today. If tomorrow we feel like doing back, then we're going to do back. Just listen to the body and see
Yeah.
how we feel.
That's good. And I think it's something that maybe, has happened a little bit more often during this quarantine, because
Yeah.
it gave, I mean, at least I took it as a break from a regular, like conventional training. Although, I mean, I did stick to a program, because I'm a creature of
Your
habit.
program's amazing. You did. Oh, I've been watching you progressing. What day is it? 100 and what now?
No, it's not yet. So it's I have it written somewhere.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a lockdown. I mean, self-isolation was day, I think, 117.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry,
Yeah.
120. And
Okay.
home workout 97 today.
That's
So
amazing.
in
Like,
3 days I will have done
yeah.
100.
No, that's amazing. So again, I've definitely been watching your progression. And
Yeah,
I
no,
think,
but that's fun. It's been fun because I created programs, and I track
yeah,
my progressions as I would do, in a gym with regular
of course.
training.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
changed, I varied more often because, okay, with bands, it's not so easy to, to progress because the body
Yeah.
adjusts, because you can't really play with intensity. So you
Yeah.
can play with volume and with frequency,
Of
but
course.
you can't train like, 3 hours a day. So the trick
Exactly.
for me is, I mean, we've got a life as well. So the trick, the trick for me has been to change, my program quite often, like 3-4 weeks, and then let's go with another one. So this
Yeah.
way I've
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
able to progress, so
Yeah.
without stalling too much, but without wasting too much time, and I guess without getting bored either, because
Yeah.
I mean, if I had my own home gym, I would probably use it. I wouldn't mind, but like a
Yeah.
proper one with actual equipment, like
Yeah.
barbells and
Yeah. Like,
dumbbells.
yeah. Yeah.
But like when you've got no, proper equipment, it might get a little bit, boring in the long
Yeah. Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think changing and taking it as a game, as a fun experience.
Yeah.
It all has kept me from getting mad, I think, or like of frustrated, or
Yeah, yeah, of
I
course.
don't know what feelings it might have had caused me, but I've been quite happy with with how this
Good.
lockdown has gone so far. And
Yeah, good.
and I don't think I'm gonna go back to the gym after they reopen on the 25th, because I think it's gonna still be a little bit frustrating, because you'll have to wait. And
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, how about you?
Of
Are you planning to go to the gym?
See, that's yeah.
Yeah,
Just like yourself, the idea of having to, book a slot and then getting in there and having an hour and then like, and then being told, fine, you got to leave now. Yeah, you can create programs for yourself and discipline yourself, but I think at the moment what I'm doing is working. I do miss the gym environment. Um, because there are times where it does motivate you,
yes, yeah,
seeing other people work out. It does do something for your motivation at times. But yeah, I think the frustration thing definitely, you'll probably not be able to work out when you want to. You'll then
yeah,
have to then adapt to then, and it's like, well, if what I'm doing at the moment is working. And I said to my gym partner recently, I said, well, we're killing ourselves to uh there's times where we just lift like light weights and we just rep it out and things like that, and there's weeks where we're like, okay, fine, we're going to go like super heavy, and we're going to try and test our strength and all the rest of this, right? And I remember it was a really heavy session, and we were trying to do um like I don't do like heavy weightlifting. I don't do like bodybuilding and stuff like that, right? So we pushed it to about 140 on chest, okay? And after that session, I said to him, "Wait a minute, I'm not even getting paid for this." I said, "I'm all right." I said, "I'm all right how I am. I'm happy to where I am. Like, why am I putting myself through more, you
yeah,
know, all these excess kind of achievements and so forth. I'm all right. I'm okay. Like I'm not looking at myself and thinking, oh, I need to do this and whatnot, because I know myself and I'm happy with my level. And it's like, oh no, Jay, we got to do this. I'm like, listen, until you get someone to pay me to put me in a magazine, then we can go ahead and I could do blood, sweat, and tears, because there's some people in the gym. I don't know if you can relate to this. You might be one of these people, so I'm sorry if this is you, but there are some people in the gym, right, who act as if like with their workout, like they're getting paid like millions for it. Like it's life or death. They're going in hard. They're giving it everything. They're sacrificing everything. They're spending so many hours in the gym, and they're strict on their diets and all the rest of it. And they're doing it. And you're like, but what's the end goal? Like, what is it for? Like, are you doing it to feel good? Like, when do you feel good? Like, at what point do you say, okay, fine, actually, I feel good, I can maintain this or whatever.
yeah. See, for me, I mean, I'm a little bit like that, not extreme though, but
Yeah,
but it makes me feel good. Like eating a clean diet makes me feel
yeah,
good, or like,
good.
but yeah,
Yeah,
but I couldn't spend. I mean, I can never spend more than 1 hour and a half, in the gym
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah,
I'd rather train twice in a day, maybe also to split my day
yeah,
a little bit more, because I am most of the time I'm home and I'm at my Mac writing and reading, so
yeah,
I don't mind doing some extra training.
of
But
course.
yeah, so I don't I have never understood those people like training for 3 hours, because Arnold, he would do, but he would get paid for it. Like he would,
Exactly.
yeah.
100%.
But but who can afford like a life like that? Even
Yeah.
even like pro bodybuilders now, they don't like it, they don't live
No.
off it. Like they might get some good sponsorships for some time, but they most live off their own coaching and and
Exactly.
yeah, partnerships, sponsorships.
Exactly.
But yeah, yeah, no,
So I
that's
think
crazy. Yeah,
I think what at one point it was very close that gym and fitness would overthrow everything. So work, family life, because that would be dedication. That would be, I'll kill myself in the gym, and then I'll be like achy and tired the next morning, and or I would spend, I'll get so tired that when I come home, just like, oh my gosh, I just want to like have a shower and go to bed, And there was times like that, and then it's knowing yourself and the realization of, okay, listen, I can do that, and I will continue to progress, and I'll get bigger or get stronger, whatever the case may be, or get faster. And but then I thought, then what am I sacrificing for that? It's not as if I'm getting paid to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, just like calm it down, like relax. What you got to do, make you happy. Work out, but also it is definitely that balance of knowing, okay, listen, 2 hours in the gym, 3 hours in the gym. As I think I mentioned to you on one of our chats, on the JSB chat, this guy that's always in the gym. It doesn't matter what time you go there, he's always there. But so it's like, where do you get to work, But yeah, I think again, that
maybe some people, I don't know, maybe it's all they've got. Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, once again, it's a matter of balance. So basically, balance has been the main topic of today's chat, which I love. Where can people find you? So you're on Instagram, YouTube, just tell everything.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm on Instagram, just Jermaine Ashton, and YouTube, Jay's Big Chat. And yeah, I'm pretty much a Insta Insta fan. I tend to do all my stories and post there of my sort of, I guess, life, family, and hobbies and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah.
No,
your Instagram is so cool. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks again. Thanks for having me. Like, I've been absolutely buzzing for the days leading up to today. As I said, like, it's nice to speak to you again and to answer these questions that I definitely haven't answered or even asked myself before in this manner. So thank you very much. Honestly,
I'm glad it was helpful. Okay, thank you.